You are hanging out with The Current. I'm Sean McPherson, and I am beyond excited to be chatting today and hearing some music from Lianne La Havas. And she is joining us in advance and in anticipation of this record that's coming on July 17th after a 5-year break back into releasing music. Lianne, thank you so much for taking time out today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
A lot of times, if somebody waits a little while between albums and then comes out with a self-titled album, it feels like a real moment of arrival and a statement within the career. Is that kind of where we're heading with this Lianne La Havas record?
I guess so. Well, I don't know if I intended it to be that way, but I think that it is that for me.
There's a comfort in the songs I'm hearing from the album. A lot of times it sounds like one vocal take, or at least there's not two of you multi-tracked on the thing. The band sounds very intimate and comfortable. And I know that you're working with your own band to a greater extent than you have on your previous records. Is this just you get into that level where you're really comfortable doing things on your own terms? Did you want to simplify? What makes this record so intimate and down to earth?
I think it's a few things that you mentioned. Just the fact that it's my own band makes it very homely. Also, the fact that I've done most of it in London, which is my home, and anywhere that I worked that was outside of London also was with people I know and care about. So it's all kind of definitely like a family project. I also wanted to leave things in their most natural state, I guess. I feel like I can hear when something has gone too far or something is too produced for my taste. And I think my style of production on this album is definitely a more natural approach, or the more kind of haphazard, use what you've got there DIY approach. But of course, we used some amazing equipment if we did have that there available. So yeah.
Well, we are loving how the record sounds. So glad to have you back. And before we talk more, let's get into one of your tunes.
3, 2, 1. It's not my turn. Could it be that
Thanks for hanging out with The Current, and we are listening to some incredible music from Lianne La Havas, who is celebrating this new release, which is self-titled, and the first album in 5 years. Now, Lianne, you started recording this record under very, I would say, low stakes circumstances. It sounds like you brought your band into the studio to record a cover
Mhm.
of a Radiohead tune, Weird Fishes, that you had dialed in from doing your live shows. And I'm wondering if that was part of the casualness of getting the record started, was just you got a great band, you jump in and you start that way. Did that help inform the rest of the recording process?
It definitely did. I had done a few kind of jam sessions leading up to the climactic finishing of the album, because it had been a long time being written. Basically, it took ages to write it, and then yeah. But what I realized is a lot of my demos were already jam sessions with musicians and great people that I knew and I'm friends with. So as well as having those elements on this album, when it came to doing the rest of the songs, I just, yeah, that was the moment I tried Weird Fishes, because I wanted to know if, well, I wanted to have a version of it for just to listen to, because I never did a real recording of it before, apart from a live one. So yeah, then I got my band, and then everyone had a really nice day. I think they tell me, and we ended up making that version. And I honestly just felt really positive about it. I just felt like, yeah, this is exactly how I want to sound, and these are the people that I think can help me to sound the way I want to sound for the rest of the song. So as each other song got finished, the next natural port of call was to get my band to help me finish them. And that's how it ended up.
And now, one song we've been loving on The Current is the first track that's on this new record, which is called Bittersweet. And the first time I listened to it, I have to admit that I thought my Spotify had moved over to Jay-Z's The Blueprint, because the very start of the track has a real kind of old soul sampled feel. And then you go somewhere
Mm.
really different with it. And I absolutely love the tune. And I was reading that you felt like you couldn't really deliver that tune till you gave yourself some rest and relaxation to be able to hit that one note. Can you tell me about the process of sort of both forgiving
Mm.
yourself for not being able to hit the note, but also arriving to that point where you really could deliver it?
I don't know if I really think about it that much. Honestly, I
Okay.
feel like when I'm just feeling like it is when I sing the best.
Gotcha.
If I'm being, if I've got to find the energy from somewhere that it isn't already, then I find it more difficult to enjoy singing, So I think having a 5-year break is the kind of thing that is really good for your voice, it turns out. Um, but yeah, I started that song in 2014 and then I finished it in 2018. So it was just the right time and the right words and the right time in my life, I think.
Well, the writing and the performance of it sound really great, and I keep on going back to the word intimate, but your vocal performance on that sounds so comfortable and just, I don't know, it feels really right. On top of that,
Thank you.
I was absolutely, I was reminded initially of a Jay-Z sample based tune right when I heard the track. You also have the band doing a lot of dropped ones and quiet fours and a lot of tricks that I
Mhm.
associate with Jamaican music, where you're doing arrangements that have a lot
Mhm.
more with taking things out than putting things in. And I know that before your last record, you actually visited Jamaica and worked with a producer down there. Is it through Jamaican music that you picked up a lot of those dropping the one type of tricks for your album?
Maybe. I think it's sort of built into me, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's just a part of my upbringing and, you could say DNA. There's just music everywhere in Jamaica, so I definitely feel like I absorbed some of that. And when it came to making my album, I love R&B, and I love syncopation, and I love things that trick the ear, and I love lots of texture in music. And I think Bittersweet provided the opportunity to make something that has all of those elements. And my band kind of did most of it just naturally as well. They just
Gotcha.
they just are that funky.
Well, I'm really excited to hear an even more intimate version of Bittersweet. But for those of you who haven't checked out the song yet, I sincerely recommend checking out the band version. But let's get into Lianne La Havas doing Bittersweet.
Please stop asking, do you still love me? Don't have much to say, let's speak in the morning. Please don't do this, I'm too far away. Don't know what to tell you, baby. No more hanging around. Oh, no more hanging around. Oh, now my sun's going down. Oh, telling me something isn't right, something isn't right. Oh, bittersweet summer rain, I'm born again. All my broken pieces, bittersweet summer rain, I'm born again. Oh, no hanging around. Oh, no hanging around. All my sun's coming down. Telling me something ain't right. I slept all Friday and he couldn't get through. If we're good tomorrow, does that make it true? Not completely. We're picking that fight every day. This shit's going nowhere, baby. Bittersweet summer rain, I'm born again. All my broken pieces, bittersweet summer rain, I'm bittersweet summer rain. I'm born again.
That is Bittersweet, Lianne La Havas on this new album, which is a self-titled album. For me, from what I've heard so far, the album I connect with the most from your discography, which is saying something because I really love all the music you've made beforehand. Now, you've had a bigger hand in producing this record than you've had in your previous records, but you did also connect with some real friends, including a producer who I adore out of England named Muramasa. You worked on the tune Can't Fight with Muramasa. Can you tell me how that
Yeah.
came about and what that experience was like?
I love him too. He's really cool, basically. He's a really cool guy, really nice person. Really, I found the process of working with him extremely natural. Um, and yeah, I guess on my first two albums, or maybe not so much my first album, but my second album, I definitely worked with a lot of new people. And I had to sort of build relationships at the same time I was making songs with them, which worked out in some cases. It didn't work out in other cases, but that's fine. But I remember during the process of the second album, or maybe it was just after it came out, I heard Muramasa and I heard his music and I just fell in love with it. And we happened to have some mutual friends. So I found a pathway to kind of ask if he wanted to work together. So this was 4 years ago now. So we worked together 4 or 5 years ago for the first time. And then whatever happened. I went on tour. He won some Grammys, that kind of thing. And then we got back in touch for when I was making this album, and he happened to be set up in South London, like myself. And we ended up, the first thing we did was make Can't Fight. And so I was glad because I had a great feeling about him when I first met him, and then we stayed in touch and I, bumped into him at Coachella and stuff. So there was definitely like an actual relationship there, and it was solidified by making that song. He made me feel really comfortable in general, and he got me to play my guitar, and I sometimes get weirdly shy about playing guitar in sessions. Do you know what I mean? Like he was just like, "Oh, I'll just play," and I was like, "What do you mean? I don't want to just play." And then I did, and I felt totally comfortable, and I was playing riffs from years ago that I've never done anything with. And then that is what Can't Fight became. He was able to see the beauty in that very old riff that I had.
Lianne, if I could play guitar like you can, I would be playing it 24 hours a day, just walking around. Hey, look at me! I'm really good at guitar. No, you are a spectacular instrumentalist, and of course, the writing and the voice push it over the edge. You are one of the great talents of right now in music, and I'm not remotely the first person to say that. One of the first people to catch wind of you and to reach out is Prince, and you guys had a relationship. One of the first ways I heard your voice was as the narrator on that album. As we now navigate more years since Prince's passing, and I don't want to dwell on Prince's passing. I know y'all had a private friendship, and I don't want to get in the way of that. But as the years go by of us surviving without Prince, can you tell, how do you relate to his music or his legacy differently in this time?
I definitely really miss him. I miss him on a few levels. Like I miss him as a friend, obviously. And I miss his, just being there for me. But then I feel like with everyone else as a planet, we miss his presence as well, and his, you know, sort of almost omniscient, omnipotent, just being around and knowing, always, you know, always knew what was going on with music, always had his finger on the pulse. He was always finding new things. And I think that his influence, more than anything, it made me more determined to do things myself and not rely so much on other people to help me do things I already could do, but just maybe didn't believe enough that I could do them. And he definitely always did that in his career, and his whole legacy is just so do it yourself and be the best that you can be. And I think the best thing would be if his music continues to inspire generations of people like it has myself.
Well, that is beautiful words, and I definitely take that to heart. And the spirit of his self determination and his willingness to cut his own path certainly show through in the way you're rolling out this new record, and your comfort. I even think about as I was looking at the cover art to your record, it's all the other covers are wonderful, but your hair is very perfectly groomed and you look fantastic. And in this new album cover, you also look so comfortable, and your hair is free and out. And if that's an indication of also the spirit of the album, of this sort of willingness to make it on your own terms and to create on your own terms, I hear that in the music as well. And I'm so thankful you're bringing that into this universe, when I think honesty and accessibility and intimacy is something that is in short supply right now, and you're bringing some of it into the universe. And I sincerely thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Thanks. That means a lot to me.
We're going to get to one more tune from Lianne, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking some time out to chat with The Current. Congratulations on your new release, and I can't wait to get to see you not over the internet, but at a venue in the Twin Cities, or perhaps in our studios. You visited our studios twice before. We love you. We appreciate you making new music and great music and putting it into this earth. We'll hear one more tune, and thanks again.
Thank you very much. I love you. Bye.